For decades, travelers in the remote desert of Nevada have reported strange sightings, an entire town that appears out of nowhere, only to vanish without a trace. This ghostly city, known to locals as Phantom City, has become the subject of whispered legends and eerie campfire tales. But the truth behind its existence has remained one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries in America. It all began in the early 1950s, when a group of explorers set out to map an uncharted part of the desert. They were a well-prepared team, equipped with the best technology available at the time. Their goal was to survey the desolate landscape and document any unknown areas. What they found, however, defied all explanation. On the third day of their expedition, they stumbled upon something extraordinary. A bustling, fully developed city. It looked like it had been plucked from the 19th century, with brick buildings, cobblestone streets, and lampposts lighting up the fading sunset. The city was alive with activity. People dressed in old-fashioned clothes walked along the sidewalks, horses clopped through the streets, and shopkeepers stood in doorways, chatting with customers. The explorers, confused but intrigued, approached the town, thinking they had discovered a hidden relic of the past. But as they entered the city, something strange happened. The air became thick, and the warm desert breeze turned icy cold. The townspeople, who had seemed so lively and real, began to move in slow, unnatural ways, like they were actors in a film being rewound. The explorers felt uneasy, but they continued on, hoping to find someone who could explain what they were seeing. As night fell, the explorers set up camp on the outskirts of the town. One of them, a man named Richard, volunteered to stay awake and keep watch. The others drifted off to sleep, but Richard couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. He glanced toward the city, and his blood froze. The lights were flickering, the buildings seemed to be fading, and the people were no longer moving. They stood still, like mannequins in a store window. Then, just as quickly as it had appeared, the city began to dissolve into the night. By the time dawn broke, Phantom City was gone. The explorers were shaken, but determined to return and investigate. However, no matter how hard they searched, they couldn't find the city again. It had vanished, leaving no trace that it ever existed. They returned home, their story dismissed as a mirage brought on by exhaustion and the desert heat. But Phantom City didn't remain a myth for long. In the years that followed, more and more people reported seeing the ghostly city. Some travelers swore they had stumbled upon it, only for it to disappear the moment they approached. Others claimed to have heard strange music and voices coming from the direction of the city, though no one could ever find the source. Soon, the legend of Phantom City spread across the region, attracting paranormal investigators and thrill seekers alike. The sightings became more frequent, and in the 1980s, a group of scientists decided to take matters into their own hands. Armed with modern technology, they ventured into the desert, determined to capture proof of the elusive city. For days they searched, setting up high-tech equipment and monitoring the area. On the fifth night, their equipment picked up something unusual, a faint, humming frequency that seemed to come from deep within the earth. It grew stronger as they moved closer to the spot where Phantom City had been seen. Then, just after midnight, the city appeared. Unlike before, it didn't gradually fade in. It materialized in an instant, glowing eerily under the moonlight. The scientists were ecstatic. They filmed the city from afar, capturing footage that would finally prove its existence. But as they approached, their technology began to malfunction. Cameras cut out, recording devices emitted a sharp static, and their instruments went haywire. Something about Phantom City didn't want to be captured. Ignoring the warnings, the team ventured into the city. As they crossed the threshold, the temperature dropped and time seemed to slow. They saw the same strange figures the explorers had described decades earlier. People frozen in mid-motion, shops filled with goods that seemed untouched by time, and a strange, unshakable sense that they were being watched. Then without warning, the ground beneath them began to rumble. A low, guttural sound echoed through the empty streets. The buildings trembled, the sky darkened, and before their eyes, the city began to disappear again, as if being swallowed by the earth itself. The scientists barely escaped with their lives. Only one man, Dr. Peter Lawson, managed to return with a coherent account of what had happened. He claimed that Phantom City wasn't just a ghost town. It was a rift in time, a place caught between dimensions, cursed to appear and disappear at random. But before he could reveal more, Dr. Lawson vanished under mysterious circumstances. His notes were found scattered in his lab, incomplete, with only one chilling phrase written over and over: "It's coming back." To this day, Phantom City remains a mystery. Those brave enough to search for it in the desert either return with unbelievable stories or never return at all. Some believe it's a gateway to another world. Others think it's the remnants of an ancient civilization lost to time. But one thing is certain: if you see the city, don't get too close, because you might disappear along with it.